September 17th, the day has finally arrived. It's fight night. I wake up that day just thinking about what I have to do during my day. Obviously, I have to go to work still. I remember going to work, opening up the shop, and throughout the day, I'm just focusing on the tasks that I have to do at my job, attending customers and the whole deal. And come around 2 o'clock is where my sister comes, because I asked her the day before to cook me a big steak dinner, or lunch I guess I should say, and requested steak and some potatoes, and she threw in some asparagus, so I had that for lunch, just to get me prepped, energized. And come around 5 o'clock is where I tell my dad, I'm heading out. He tells me good luck, and I'm off to the gym, and excited. That's where I start getting more excited. Yeah, so when I got to the gym, the atmosphere, you could tell the atmosphere was full of excitement, joy. People were nervous, some people were anxious, some were just hyped up, energized, and where they kept the fighters in a separate area. All the fighters, were mingling. I had a couple conversations with a couple fighters, and they were telling me about how they just want to get this over with, because that's how tense it was, being in the same area with your opponent just across the room that you could see that you're about to face in the ring. Just builds a lot of tension. But other than that, I think people were just excited for this fight night, and as I was too. So when we're in the other area where all the fighters are, I can see my opponent across the room, and I try not to pay too much attention to him. But I see that during training, he looks like he's dialed in. He's in the zone. He's working on some combos and his technique. And right beside me is my personal trainer, and then he's just giving me some tips. He noticed some things about him, and was just on the low, telling me what he's caught at the corner of his eye. So I was just, taking that in, but I was trying not to focus my attention solely on my opponent. I did not want that to play with my head. I wanted to focus and concentrate on the task at hand. And during that time, which seemed like forever, because we were the last fight, we were the main event. So we had to wait through all these other fights, and it seemed like an eternity. I just wanted, at that point, as it was nearing, I just wanted to get it over with. And throughout that time, I'm just trying to, keep warm, not to cool down. So I'm on the bike. I'm doing the resistant band. I'm doing some stretching. Some shadow boxing. I'm doing what I can to just stay in the zone and keep a cool head, and that's how the vibe was. I think I had the best support team I could ever ask for. Primarily my sisters, which I love them to death, and they are my backbone. So it was comforting to have them there. along with my brother-in-law, and I had a couple friends come by. One of my friends, which I consider, I guess, a really close friend, Jose. He was my hype man. He was getting me fired up. He was, doing what he could to get me hyped and get me in the zone. He was giving me words of encouragement, and I thank him for that. It was him keeping the fire going. My corner man, Dame, thank you, man, for being my corner man and giving me some really good advice that that kind of changed the course of the fight mid fight. And I got to go back to my sisters. They my oldest, Adriana, she was just screaming and shouting. She was way more hyped than I probably was during that day. And that energy, I just fed off that energy, and I appreciate it a lot, and it really helped me get by and stay in the zone. Had a couple other friends come over to support me. Thank you for coming through and showing your support and showing your love. And a couple fighters too were on my side, just low key telling me good luck and I got this, and I thank you guys for your support and for the love. So by far, I didn't have the biggest crew on my side, but it was just enough and just the right people that I needed to get through that night. That moment when my name was announced that I was going to be going up next, that's where the blood started rushing. That's where the tingling started happening, my shoulders and the back of my neck, and that's when I was starting to get a little bit nervous, somewhat anxious. It was just a rush of adrenaline going through my body, because in a matter of minutes I was going to be in the ring trading off punches with someone else. And I was just trying to pace myself. So deep breaths. I was punching my hands together, warming up my neck. I was doing what I could do to control this adrenaline. And what was going through my head was just that I got this, and I worked hard for this, and this is my moment. This is what I trained for, and I'm going to make this happen. And I was also trying to separate myself and just focus on what I needed to accomplish. And I was zoning out. Personal conflicts, problems that's going on in my life, and I just set that stuff to the side and dialed in on the objective, and that was to last all 4 rounds. My goal was not to get gassed out, let alone knocked out. I didn't want that. And just to prove to myself that that I am able to do this and go the distance and put on a show for the spectators. So a lot of emotions going on at that moment, and main one was just excitement. nervousness. But as we started walking to the ring, I noticed faces I didn't recognize, fist bumping me, or patting me on the shoulder, or rooting for me. And I'm thinking to myself, like, who are these people? And why are they rooting for me? I don't even know them. But it felt good in a way too, because I had people that were supporting me that I didn't know, and that just made me much more confident, much more, content. And it's time to walk into the ring. I try to zone everything out. I don't pay attention to the crowd. I don't look over to my family or my friends. I know that they're there, and I can hear them in the background, especially my sister is just screaming. And I step in the ring, and it's just me and the ring and the ref, my cornerman, and my opponent. Those are 4 people that I see, and my focus starts just to go on to my opponent, and everything else out of focus, and it's game. I know I'm going in as the underdog. I am not the favorite going into this fight, and one reason I could tell is when the fight was announced, they had the post published on the page, and I can see everybody commenting on the post, and some of the comments read as supporting the opponent, and it has our picture. And if you look at our picture, well, you notice right off the bat that the differences between us. It's very noticeable, the physical appearance of my opponent and me. I'm not as physically fit as him, nor am I covered in all these tattoos, which makes it, from a spectator standpoint, makes it look like an intimidating person. And people were commenting, and I would see like comments saying that he was it was gonna be an easy win, or it was gonna knock me out, and I knew that making my way to the ring, and my goal was to give people their money's worth on fight night, and prove to those people, and prove to myself that I can go the distance and stick it out to the end. And I felt that it was something I had to do, because the day before was Mexican Independence Day, and you know how that is. And there was lots of parades and people just celebrating. And the day of the fight, Canelo was fighting Triple G, so that was on top of that. And I felt like I had to pull this one off. Had to pull through and do it for me, do it for my supporters, and do it for Mexico. So this was a challenge I was ready to accept. So I'm in the ring. It's the first round. It's time to go to work. So I'm going in with a game plan and a strategy, if you want to call that. And the strategy is to not get gassed out, for one, not get knocked out, second, and just to feel out my opponent. So yeah, I got in there and just filling him out. I was hearing that he has good power hand and uses it a lot, so I was just trying to feel that out. And as I did, a couple of times I did get caught with some really, really good hooks. But the point of that round was to fill them out and see what I could do and coming into the second round. And so the bell rings. It's the end of the first round. I'm in my corner. I'm just hyped and I feel energized and I have all this adrenaline rush in me, and I don't see my stool in the corner, and I'm just standing and with my arms on the ropes. My corner man is just giving me some words of advice. He was just telling me that to pace myself and not to get too careless, and reminding me that I had 3 more rounds to go, and to keep my composure, to breathe. And I took that, and second round, ding ding, we're in it. And during maybe the middle of that second round, I get caught with this right hook, I want to say, to my left eye, and it knocks out my contact lens, and wear contacts. And at this point, I am blinded by one eye because I have really poor vision. And I'm just thinking to myself, do I tell the ref something? We pause, do I look for my contact? And I'm just thinking to myself, like, what should I do? And I bother not to say anything, and I just continue on. And I just had to fight through it. I was literally fighting with one eye from the second round up until the end, and it made things a little bit more difficult. I was disabled, you can say, from one eye. So I go back to my corner. I don't say anything about my eye to my corner man. And I see my stool, and I sit down now. I think it's the second round, maybe the third, not sure. And he's telling me just to pace myself and to keep my distance and try to work the body a little bit. And he's telling me that after the second round, he noticed that my opponent was kind of getting tired, and I could see that too. So third round comes in. We're in the third round, and we're going back and forth. And then there comes a point where I see my opponent rest his hands on his hips, or on his legs, let's say. Can't remember, but nonetheless, he was trying to catch his breath. And that for me was, I guess, a turning point for me, I guess, where it just gave me that, I guess, that extra energy, that motivation, the drive to keep on pushing. And from that point on, my goal was just to dog him and to give him a hard time and not let him catch those breaks. When you're carrying around all that weight, all that muscle, you are bound to get tired at one point, and it seemed to be the case as I was noticing with my opponent. So that was a turning point, I would say, during the fight. End of the third round, I go back to my corner, and my guy Dame, my corner man, he was telling me to, he said George Foreman. He's like, George Foreman him. and that comes from George Foreman's technique. He does this, he uses this technique when he goes in close quarters with his opponent. He goes in with his arms like this, as it's called the crossbody stance. This is basically to deflect any punches or hooks of that nature, to allow you to get in within distance and to land maybe a body, a hook, more of a defensive stance than anything. And I remember using that a lot in my sparring, and I was like, yeah, you're right. So fourth round comes, and I'm using this technique, and I haven't displayed in the first or the second round, and I want to think that it kind of caught my opponent off guard. Was not expecting me to do that, and I used that to kind of bull rush him a little bit and push him around, and it got to the point where I was getting him on the ropes a couple times, and I was just trying to get my weight on him and make him work double with his weight and my weight on top of him, and trying to get me off of him was the goal, and just try to tire him out, because in the end he is a stronger opponent, but I think I did last a little bit longer. I had more gas in the tank than he did, and by me just implementing that kind of strategy, I felt like it gave me the upper hand, and the stamina and the endurance, and I felt like I pulled through. The end of the fourth round came. I was so relieved that, for one, I survived. I got out there, I got out alive, and displayed to everyone and to myself, proved myself, above all, that anything is possible if you want it and you have the drive for it. You can achieve it, and I was just happy. No winners or losers are decided in this fight, but that is for the crowd to determine. And I felt like, people were still, on each other's side, and but I had people tell me that I pulled it off, and I'll take that. If I could prove them that I was able to do it and pull it off, and that is satisfying to me, and that's more than enough. So that's the recap of all 4 rounds. Will I do it again? Probably not. This was more or less an experience, a bucket list item that I wanted to do, and doing this has proved myself that I am capable of achieving whatever I put forth in my path, that I'm capable, and if I'm willing to put in the work and the effort. And our hands up, me and my opponent's hands, we share this victory together, and it is because we worked hard for this, and we both came out victorious in this fight. And after that, we embraced each other, we exchanged some kind words, and we exited the ring. And as I'm exiting, my team's there, my support team, my sisters, my friends, and they're just cheering me on. And I felt like I won a title or something, I came out champ. They're just nonstop cheering, and it was very exciting to see that. And I kind of got emotional with my sister too, with both of my sisters. we're in the back. We're in the other area, and my oldest sister, she's telling me that I've never seen that side of you before, that fighter side of you. You've always been a lover, and to see that side of you was very that caught me off guard, and that to me was like, whoa, like I never knew that she had thought of me that way. And with my other sister, Veronica, she was congratulating me and just, you know, embracing me and hugs, and all I'm thinking about is like, where can I get a beer around here, because I haven't had a beer in a long time, and I'm just thirsty, and I just want to share a drink with my team, and cheers to this night. And my opponent comes, makes his way in, and you know, we embrace each other again, and he presents me to his mother, which I think was really cool. I got to meet his mother, and she offered to take a selfie, and so she got a selfie of me and her, and I just, you know, it was heartwarming to experience that. You know, after a clash, after a battle, you know, to just, you know, flip that switch and just, you know, be human again. You know, just embrace each other and show one another love and being caring to one another. So that was an awesome experience to share. And the other fighters, you know, they're coming over and just like just congratulating us and you know, just commenting on what they thought of the fight, and it was a lot to process, but I was just trying to enjoy the moment and bask in it, because I did earn it, and I wanted to enjoy every second of it, and as I did with people I care for and love. And that was a wrap. And after that, we went out to celebrate, and that was another night in itself. I mean, to cap this all off, I want to thank my family, my friends, and my supporters for coming out on that night and showing me your love and your support. I thank you so much, and it does mean a lot to me for you to go out of your way and, you know, buy a ticket and then show up and then, you know, stay the whole night and cheer for me. And I mean, that speaks volumes to me, and I take that to heart, and you know, I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. So once again, I want to thank you all for coming along this journey of mine. I want to thank all the trainers at Dropout Gym, my family, my friends, and those who came out to support me on the fight night. Thank you all. As far as for me, my training will continue. I plan on maintaining this new physique that I have acquired these past 6 months, and I look forward to see what I become in another 6 months.